last night was a little Halloween night car show, and took the car out. I still have some remnants here. Took the car out, and of course I don't have my prop rod yet, right? And you know, these car shows, because it's like a trick or treat type thing, it's pretty long. It's like 3 to 8 o'clock, and that really means 3 to 9 o'clock once they do the raffles and the awards and all that stuff. And so I brought the car as is, as you see it here. And I must have went to dinner or something during the when all the judges came around, because I only saw one judge that came around. And you know, I was like, oh, do you want me to answer any questions or whatever? And yeah, would you? I'd love to see the engine. Great. And I popped the hood, and she like, whoa, like stepped back and was freaked out that, oh my God, you could eat off the engine. And I'm like, all right, none of the other judges saw this. And the one thing I've noticed is when I used to drive the car around without any of this, you know, the hood and the side panels, car wasn't even painted yet, everybody on the street would just be stopping and giving me thumbs up and like, holy shit, this is great, awesome, you know. And people would actually slow down while they're driving to make sure they could get to see the car and all that stuff. And now that it's all buttoned up and painted, I don't see that kind of enthusiasm anymore, because they don't see the engine. And I just didn't realize how much that is a role. I mean, we all know engine, fast car, great. But I just didn't realize how much that plays into the factor of the wow. And, you know, they have to see it, because otherwise it just looks like a nice car. So in any case, I have another show that's coming up this weekend. It's Sunday now. It's coming up Saturday. And I'm probably not going to have the prop rod yet, but I'm going to make one up because I have to. There's, you know, make it out of wood, paint it black, whatever. Just stick it in there. Needs to happen. Otherwise, no one's going to see anything. I'm taking off the fenders today so I could go get them painted and hopefully have them painted so they're ready to go for next weekend. Now, one of the things that was really nice about being at the show, even though I was twiddling my thumbs for 4 hours, because there wasn't a lot going on there, and honestly, there wasn't a lot of cars. There was maybe, the Corvette Club showed up, so there's like 30 Corvettes and then probably 25 other cars, so it wasn't like that huge. So, you know, I walked around for 5 minutes and I saw the whole show. You know, and I got to talk to a few people, but it wasn't until late in the night that I talked to some people, and a guy gave me a referral to someone that does fabrication out of their home, who's a really good guy, he says, and lives less than a mile away from me. So last night was hopefully a major success in just that information. So that's awesome. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get these fenders off, hopefully. Now, these are going into riv nuts, and so I'm a little worried about that, but I should be able to get to the back of the riv nuts and hopefully not have any issues. I never assumed I was ever taking these off again. It was kind of like put them on and that's it. So we will see. So we're going to take those off, drop them off at Greg's, and see if we can get those back in a few days. And then, since I don't want to drive the car until I have them covered, probably bring the trailer around. And even though this is an in-town show, this big show that I'm doing, it's the biggest show that I like in town, do a full trailer exercise. Take the car down there in a trailer, unload it, see what the whole, you know, process is, since I've never done any of this stuff before on site at a car show, when there's a million other cars trying to get in their spots and stuff. So that's kind of a logistical thing for me that I got to figure out. In fact, I ran into a guy that had this beautiful 50s car that I actually said, hey, would you ever mind, you know, doing something like that for a music video? Because I shoot music videos for people all day long. If you watch the documentary, it's one of my job descriptions. And the guy was interested, and so I was talking to him, like, he goes, well, I'm going to be out of town for a while. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And he said, well, maybe you want to see me when I'm talking. Maybe you don't. But in any case, he was saying that he's I said, I've never been to the Run to the Pines show, which is up in Pine Top. And he was like, oh, I'm, one of the host panel people or whatever it's officially called. And I was like, oh, okay. So how, do they have designated spots for trailers and all that stuff? And he's like, no, you either have to find a spot on the road, which is very difficult because it's very narrow, or, trailer it somewhere else and then drive the car in or whatever. And a lot of people will rent a house for a weekend and then, leave the trailer there. And I'm like, all right, so this is going to be more difficult than I thought, Not all these shows are accommodating of like, here's the storage area and here's the actual car show area. So these are the things I'm learning. And rightfully so, I'm literally walking into this stuff blind. So another thing, I need, chairs. And for me, I need special chairs. But what's going to fit in this car, that's one thing. What's going to be good for my back, that's another thing. So, it's all that kind of stuff. And all the logistics matter in my case. So I'm going to hop to it and see if we can get this stuff going and go from there. So when I originally put the whole car together after it was painted and I was driving down the road, I hit this massive bump and I heard what sounded like fiberglass, rubbing. And after putting on 500 miles on the car before it was painted, never had any issues. And so all I was thinking about is like, what rivet is touching something that's moving and scraping up against some fiberglass? Couldn't figure it out. Well, as I dropped the fenders off to Greg, I didn't notice it until I was actually pulling the fenders out, but right at the top of the fender, there was some rub marks from the tires. And then it got me thinking, it's like, well, I got the roll bar, I got the Dynamat, I got the carpet, I got the center console. Like, there's probably, 100 extra pounds or 200 extra pounds in the car that wasn't there before. And so I need to actually extend this suspension like another half an inch. It was barely touching the fender. So we're going to try to do that right now and get that dialed in and go from there.